You know the song, and you sang it more than once. What you may or may not know is platinum artist Cecil DC Glenn co wrote it with tag team rap duo partner Steve Gibson. Whoomp There It Is was released as a single in 1993 and topped the Billboard R&B chart. DC is also an actor, writer, and voiceover artist. The legendary duo and song were featured in the number one ad of 2020, Geico's Scoop There It Is. His famous song was soundtracked on numerous shows, including South Park, Elf, My Name Is Earl, Addams Family Values, and more. The hip hop duo tag team still performs live. Please welcome DC, the Brain Supreme, otherwise known as DC Glenn. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. That was a very, very good introduction. It lets me know I got to rewrite that stuff.
Thank you.
a lot of hills and valleys there. But it's complicated, right?
It is. It is.
I have many hats, right? I do.
You do.
And that's the beauty of life. I get to do a bunch of things a little bit. And that's what keeps them from being a job. So that's why I love it so much.
Well, the thing is, too, we are not defined by one thing that we do, right? We are multifaceted as humans.
Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself.
So tell me, what was your first music memory?
That's a hard one. Because I grew up in a house full of instruments and music and choirs and everything. So I've never not known music. So it's almost like swimming. I don't remember when I first went swimming because my father threw me in a swimming pool when I was a baby, right? So I've never not known how to swim, just like I've never not known how to work because I've always been working. I had chores since I was 6, 7 years old. So as a grown man, I love to work. But the question is, my first musical, when my father said, you got to play an instrument and you're going to play trumpet. And they dragged me to trumpet practice. And I cried. I think I was like 7 years old because I didn't want to play trumpet. And that was just a horrific. I don't know if it was horrific. It was just scary. That's all. They were taking me someplace I didn't know about. And they wanted me to play this instrument that I never knew about. So that was my first musical experience. And that one kind of stuck with me because I did not apply myself like I should have. Right. And I've spent a lifetime being able to apply myself and adapt to situations that anything that comes my way. And when I was a child like that, I kind of got blindsided. And that's my goal now is just not to get blindsided. The only way you can not get blindsided is to fully engage with education on any subject matter that you're going after. So I know that's a long-winded answer, but it's relevant because people try to use traumas as they were kids to say, that's why they can't do things today. And it's like, you got a whole lifetime, if you're blessed with one, to get over that and be fruitful. So I know a better one, music, I think that's the one that sticks. And then my mother made me play piano and I didn't want to do that. But what really made me want to, when I knew what I was going to do, when I went to a new high school in 11th grade and I went to the first party of the year and I saw a DJ with 2 turntables and a mixer. And I knew that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I said, this is what I want to do. And I made a career out of it. I've been a DJ ever since, which turned into rapping, which turned into everything else. So those are my musical memories that lead me to today.
What kind of music did your parents listen to?
My father listened to the soul music of the 70s, 60s, and 70s, and my mother listened to gospel music. And then when I used to listen to the radio, but that was more a mixture of everything. But when I got to high school is when I really got into hip hop because that was the beginning of hip hop, this 82, 83, 84. And then when I got to college, you might be interested is I met a gentleman named John Zanino, and I taught him hip hop, and he taught me heavy metal.
Oh,
So
cool.
when you said you're a banger, I understand about that because I used to listen to those records. I used to listen to Accept and Judas Priest and Van Halen and all those groups like that with them because that's what they were party to. And you know, being around a lot of forms of music makes you a well-rounded individual when it becomes to being a DJ. And the principles that I use in being a DJ in the clubs and parties and weddings and all that stuff apply today because to me, being a DJ is the luckiest job on earth because I get to study human nature. I get to sit in this DJ booth and watch how everybody reacts to what I do because I drive the bus. And I've become very masterful at it over the years. I've retired in 2015, but because I just don't want to be a 50-year-old DJ. I just do right. And then I'm acting and I do voiceover and we've been touring forever. So now we're touring more than ever. And it's not because the main reason that I am who I am is the hustle. I'm not scared to learn anything. I'm not scared to work. I'm not scared to put in whatever it takes for me to learn it. And what people don't realize is that there's ways to, alter your learning curve. There are ways to shorten your learning curve. And that's what I'm masterful at.
So did your life turn into what you envisioned it to be when you were a kid?
I think so. Because I remember when Michael Jackson and they had the Jackson show, and Michael Jackson was every weekend he would just do an incredible dance move. And I remember one time we were in the grocery store and I had some popcorn, Orville Redenbacher popcorn. And I was doing Michael Jackson moves and that popcorn flew out of my hand and psh, my father gave me a look like, oh, I could beat you right now. But I'll never forget it. But that was a Michael Jackson moment, right? So I knew that my life was going to be musically inclined from probably the day that I saw the DJ stuff. I knew. I was like, this is it right here. And I'll go to college and I'll go get a communications major and I'll try to be a broadcaster. But the music was what I wanted to do.
And you met your tag team partner in a Denver, Colorado high school.
Yep,
what was it about your friendship that clicked and kept you together all these years?
Well, our last name starts with a G, so in homeroom we sat next to each other. And then he introduced me to all his friends because I was new to the high school. And they had a band and they would play in the quad lunchtime sometimes. I was like, I gotta be in that band. And I just beat them down until they just let me be in the band. And once I got in the band, I've always been a leader. And I was the one, who developed the structure. I was the one who went and got the gigs. I was the one who made sure we had drumsticks, guitar strings, the whole nine. And, because of my mother and the choir, I went and joined the choir, Bolt Vibration Choir. So I'm DJing, I'm in the choir, and I'm in this band. But the band disbanded because, young people, a group of young people is hard to stay together. But me and Steve always stayed together because, we are from a community of friends, right? And people grow apart. But certain people in that community kind of click more than others. Not really click, but stay in contact more, have more interest in line, right? And me and Steve's interests were in line. And we had started a rap group called the Tag Team Crew, which was 3 individuals. But one individual Otis P had to go to the Army. And then it was just me and Steve tag team. And then I just started rapping, started writing lyrics and started, making songs because we had a 4-track back in the day. Johnny Z got the 4-track. He was like, I don't know what to do with this thing. I was like, I'll figure it out. Started making songs. And it evolved and I graduated Sac State, moved to Atlanta. And then everything flourished. I got a job DJing at a club, one of the major clubs in the city, and it just blossomed into just all kinds of things that helped me create that song, which was we were in this we were in the South. In the South, you have bass music, it's up tempo type of music, right? And I knew we weren't going to be able to get out of the Southeast because back then it was just New York and LA as far as record companies. And I told Steve we got to make something up tempo, and our first attempt was "Whoomp There It Is." And everybody thinks it's this big Manhattan project where we're wearing lab coats, and no, just a song about young men chasing women and drinking on a Friday night, which is the theme of every country song, rock and roll song, hip hop song, blues song that's out there, right? So fast forward, I was struggling with trying to find a deal because people like the record, but it just didn't know what to do with it. And a young lady named Lisa McCall used to work at Island Records. She told me, hey, call Al Bell. And for those who don't know who Al Bell is, in the beginning of soul music in the 60s, there were 3 record companies: Philly International, Berry Gordy Motown, and Stax Records, which was owned by Al Bell. And the year before, he put out an up-tempo record called Daisy Dukes, and it went gold. And I was like, that makes sense. I don't mind going gold because we didn't have no concept of gold and platinum back then. We just wanted to be rock stars. And I called him. 2 weeks later, he called me. And I was like, look, dude, I got a hit record. You really need to sign us. And he was like, okay. I was like, whoa, don't play with me. You haven't even heard the record. And I'll never forget these words. He said, brother, I don't have to hear the record. I hear it in your spirit. Let's agree to agree.
Wow.
Let's get this thing moving. And I gave about 2 weeks at the club I was at, signed a messed up record deal, and in a month and a half, tag team was platinum. The rest is history.
So what was it about that song? What made it work?
I have no idea. I think it went back to the essence of hip hop. That's one reason. Went back to the essence of hip hop because we were inspired by records like Planet Rock and Egyptian Lover and those electronic records back in the day, Kraftwerk, Trans-Europe Express, Numbers, records like that, those up-tempo party records. And it just was a record that was fun, about partying, that really blew. And every time when I first played it on a cassette in the club that night. That's the biggest response I've ever had to any record, and I've been DJing for 30 years. So I already knew, and it was just about finding somebody who could really get it out there, and Al Bell got it out there. He got it out there, and we were all the awards. Everything changed, and been doing it for 30 years off of one song.
So I guess when you look at the group LMFAO, they almost have a similar sound to that song that you created.
The electronic stuff,
yeah.
But one's beat is straight, and our beat is bump 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 in variety. That's kind of the difference between those type of genres, right? But we just people love, if you love to dance, those are the records you're going to listen to. And that's all I cared back then. It was, the clubs, it was all about keeping the dance floor packed.
Yeah.
So I knew what records to make. I knew how to make them, right? I knew what was a good record, what was going to work, what wasn't going to work. I became very masterful at it. And, we worked very hard, and we did a lot of promo, and we just been grinding ever since.
So let's go back to the selling of this record, because I'm sure the record companies are very much like book publishers, where I know with most book publishers, they might produce 150 projects per year, and they will get 10,000 pitches for those spots. So the record companies are probably much the same. So how hard, it had to be really difficult to get your song seen and heard even after you signed? Maybe, I don't know. How was that process like?
It was actually it's the record, right? The record is what does it, and the people dictate especially back then, because back then it was all about radio or about the clubs. And the way I did the clubs dictated what radio would play, because all the DJs from the radio station would come to the club. And if they heard something they hadn't heard before, then every DJ wants to have the record first. So if it's a hit record, it's gonna blow. And one way, this is one, I could tell you 3 instances that blew that record up. The first instant, guy named Ryan Cameron, he was on the radio, V103 in Atlanta, and V103 didn't play rap. But Whoomp There It Is was bubbling under so big when I was playing it in the club that he would play the instrumental bed, and everybody knew what it was, and they would call in, they would request the record. And it got so bad that they had to start playing rap music because that record got so many requests for to be played. That's advertising. If everybody gets to hear what they want to hear, then you're going to be able to slot it and then make more money advertising, right? So that's 1. 2, a gentleman named Ed Lover. He came down a couple weeks before I left Magic City, and he heard the record, and he was like, "What is that?" And I was like, "That's my new record." He was like, "Give me that." And I gave him a cassette. He's like, "Man, I can't do nothing with no cassette. I need vinyl." So a couple weeks later, after I left Magic City and I got some stuff pressed up, I gave him a couple pieces of vinyl. And Ed Lover and Dr. Dre are the hosts of one of MTV's greatest shows, Yo MTV Raps. And every day at 4:30, they would come on and they would have guests and they would play records and stuff like that. He took it back up that Monday and played Whoomp There It Is instrumental for the whole show.
Huh.
That did it. Because everybody's like, what is that? Then the third thing, 2 weeks later, the Bulls win their 3rd championship. And the celebration in Grant Park, you got 500,000 people in Grant Park. And you got all the Bulls on stage. And the beauty of this is that back then there were only 2 cable stations, WGN and TBS. That's why everybody loves the Braves and the Cubs. And because it was nationwide. And you got this parade and everybody on stage is chanting Whoomp There It Is. And you got 500 people in Grant Park chanting Whoomp There It Is. And everybody's like, what is that? And
wow.
we were gone. So I remember all those things, right? So those are that's truly organic stuff, right? Now it's different, but you still can put out a record organically if you learn what it takes to be a true digital marketer.
Yes.
Right? And the key to that is SEO. I don't care what nobody says, because everybody's looking to get 100,000, 200,000 people to like them. And that's not how, the young kids probably can do that, right? Because they're willing to do ignorant, stupid stuff on video to do that. Us, we're not trying to do that. We're not really even trying to do social.
We already did the ignorant, stupid stuff. And there were no cameras.
We can't go backwards. Some people never got out of it, but we can't go backwards, right? So for me, my philosophy is that you don't need 100,000 people to like you. You just need 100 people to pay you, right? So I am masterful at SEO now. There's nobody I can't get in front of. I can build a website and rank it very well. And that is why I'm still successful. Because anybody who are looking for my services, I'm in front of and they can find me. Right? Like right now, I'm helping my brother redo his dental website. He was getting 7 searches a month. That's going to be about 3,000 searches a month in about 2 months. Wow. Because Google, think about it. What entity, like this is what everybody wants to either be Instagram, they want to be on these platforms. But I'm like, what is the number 1 entity in the world that controls the world? Google. And if you can get on the first page of Google, that means you've done things right. That means you provide a service. That means you answer questions, because what is Google? It is a search engine. So if somebody types in, I'm looking for this, and you're on the first page, you get the money or you get the call. And people don't understand that. I ask people all the time, if you were looking for you, what would you type into Google? And they can't even tell me.
Yeah. It's the A in the phone book.
And it's amazing you say that, because that's how I used to get jobs when I was in high school.
Yeah.
For everybody. They be like, I went around, drove around to 4 places to get a job. I was like, what? I was like, I can get you a job in 5 minutes. And they were like, how? I was like, bring me them yellow pages. Where do you want to work? Restaurant. You just start from there. Hey, how you doing? Are you hiring? Okay, thank you. Hey, how you doing? Can I come and fill out an application? Okay, thank you. Hey, how you doing? Are you accepting applications? And there's gonna be somebody who has quit, who's got fired, who's just left, or business is getting bigger and can't handle it. And they're gonna be like, if you get here today, you got a job today.
Yeah.
All you had to do was dial a phone.
Yeah.
Right? I used to get all my friends jobs like that. And you could pick and choose, because then you make a list and you know what companies or what restaurants or whatever you want to work at are hiring. I did that for my niece this summer. She got a summer job at a golf course caddying for individuals and made a lot of money. Right? Because she asked me, how can I make some extra money? I was like, this is how I used to do it. And she did it. And then we put together her resume. Put together her resume in high school, but she's done a lot of community work and a lot of things. All those things are to be applauded. And what is Google? Google is data. It's not emotional. It doesn't have feelings. It doesn't care. It's not. How many times have you heard the algorithm doesn't like me? What are you talking about? I'm like, Google is data, and Google gives you the recipe to feed the data, feed the bot. So what are you going to be, a short order cook or a 3-star Michelin chef?
I love that.
I choose the latter, because that bot is going to love the food I feed it. And then not only will it put me where I want to be, but it will go out and it will grab everything else in the universe that's about me and put it in the right place.
Yeah.
That's the key right there.
Yeah.
And so now I could do it for acting. I could do it for voiceover. I could do it. I could do it for PR. I could do it to get shows. I could do it for historical preference. I could do it just to cement my legacy. I could do it to sell books. I could do it to do anything I want to do. And the ability to be able to successfully market your business or the thing that you love to do.
All right.
Is the Holy Grail of life to me.
And it's something that, I mean, you don't have to be a rocket science to figure it out, because SEO is basically going behind the scenes and, doing the little things.
Yeah, it's rocket science, but it
ain't rocket science, but it's tedious, right?
It's tedious. Yeah, it's not for everybody. Right? Because the thing you got to do is you got to twist your brain to think you got to twist your brain to think differently. You can't think like a human. You got to think like data. So all the data that I have, I input into Google through various means, which is that's what a Wikipedia page is for. Yeah. That's what Wikidata is for. Wikidata is to put all the references there so you can draw from the references of Wikidata to Wikipedia. Then Google trusts Wikipedia more than anybody.
So for the young musicians that are coming up, some of them are pretty savvy enough to figure it out, but a lot of them, some of them don't even have a website, or they don't even have their
everybody I go on tour with.
Yeah, they don't even have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, but they think that's what's going to get it for them.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, I got the YouTube channel. It's like, well, first of all, your channel description isn't filled out. So nobody knows really how to get in touch with you. You're not feeding the bot data.
Yeah. Yeah.
I said, you don't have any information. You just got 2 sentences in your description of the video. You haven't probably tried to put the video in front of the people that are looking for you to hear it. You just think that it's just in the air.
Yeah. There's so much noise. You got to sift past that noise.
But here's the problem with artists. Artists are popular. So therefore, if they're hot, it doesn't matter if their stuff is optimized, but if they're not, better be optimized, because you're not going to be seen. Like for us, what I do, and this is for me, this is new. If I'm looking at booking agents, and I'm in this organization, and I talked to all these booking agents. I said, what are you searching for when you're online? And they're like, I'm looking at the artists that I think we could put together, and I'm looking at their schedules and their bios. I'm looking at things like that. And I'm like, okay. So now I know if I want to get in front of booking agents, I need to do an article on Vanilla Ice, so I can plant myself on the first page of Vanilla Ice. So when they type in Vanilla Ice and the results come down, Tag Team is there. And you plant the seed.
Yeah.
And once you plant the seed, somebody's going to be like, that would be a good show. And you write the article that way, why we're such a good show, why we're good to be with Vanilla Ice, and use all those keywords that deal with Tag Team touring, Vanilla Ice touring, the shows we've done together, all those things like that. And then not only will you be on Vanilla Ice's page, you'll be on all his secondary pages. And then you'll be on pages for 90s and all the other things as well. So when people are searching for things in the 90s, if Vanilla Ice is there, we'll be there. If Tone Loc is there, we'll be there. If Salt and Pepper's there, we'll be there. Nobody's doing that.
Yeah.
You have to be creative, right? You have to know what. First of all, you got to know who you're trying to get in front of.
Unless they have a kick-ass PR team.
Even with PR, don't do it. This is what. Let me tell you something. I can give you with the Geico commercial, right?
Yes.
Geico worship's doing big. I'm like, but we can't do shows because we're in the middle of a pandemic. So I tried to hire PR.
We're in a computer.
Yeah. I tried to hire PR, and they're like, well, they're thrown because they're in the middle of a pandemic. They don't know how to deal with a commercial in the pandemic. Like, everybody gave me every reason why they couldn't instead of one reason why they should.
Yeah.
So I joined PRSA, because whenever I get stuck or somebody tells me I can't do something, I'll join an organization, society, or association, because they're filled with individuals who've been doing this and are masterful for 10, 20, 30, 40 years and can't wait to tell you. Plus, they got all the resources. So I joined PRSA. 2 days in, Super Bowl week, I'm on a Zoomcast with a CEO of this firm. I raised my hand. I said, hey, our press release is still relevant? You're like, what's it for? I'm like, well, I'm kind of featured in a national Geico commercial called Whoomp There It Is. And I'm looking at the chat, and they're like, wait a minute, what is he doing here? Oh my God, my grandmother loves him. My kids love him. My dog loves him. Now everything is about me. And the CEO's like, of course that press release is going to work, because the whole last year has been about COVID. The whole last year has been about politics. And here you guys come throwing sprinkles and spinning scoops, and DC, you'll smile. You're going to go here for all the consultants. You're going to go here for all the TV journalists. You're going to go here for all the TV talk shows. You're going to talk show hosts. You're going to go here for all the podcasters. And it changed my life forever. And it's the reason that you and I are talking right now.
That's very cool.
You see what I'm saying? Cool. So I'm my own publicist.
Yes.
I've got that. I've got it. That's why I do 3 or 4 of these a day. Right? Because not only am I putting myself out there, but I could take our conversation, put it into the AI,
and optimize it in various ways, which is what I'm going to do after.
Put it out there, and now I got all these backlinks to my site. Yeah. This is a backlink building exercise. This is a PR exercise. This is an entertainment exercise. This is articulation exercise. This is me getting my analogies down exercise. That's why I'm starting my motivational speaking career.
Awesome.
Because of me doing these, right? Yes. And now everybody, what are you going to talk about? Doesn't matter, because it's like I'm a DJ.
Oh man, you'd be a hell of a motivational speaker.
But it is happening now, right? Yeah. So and here's the thing.
And here's your example to send to all the bureaus.
But it's not even going to have to go that far, because I could do it myself, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I know SEO, so I know who to get in front of if I want to speak at GE, or if I want to do this. And then I'm in an organization, NSA, National Speakers Association.
Yes.
The mentors in that, all the elders in there pulled me.
Great organization,
and
by
now
the way.
they mentored me for the last 6 months.
Awesome.
You see what I'm saying? Because I joined the organization. I tell people all the time, if you want to learn how to do something quick, join the organization, because you can just talk to people and learn about it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I used to belong to the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you understand how they got all the resources. They got all, you go to the convention and you network. And one of the biggest, the guy who kind of runs the organization, that is my mentor, and he's gonna hook me up with 3 or 4 mentors, and they all told me what to do. And it's being done, and they don't even know I know what I know. They don't even know that I know how to market myself and how to do the PR and how to, like, I know what to do. As an actor, I know what to do. Here's the beauty of press releases. See, I know how to use them so effectively because I wait for a headline. Tag team wins the Bronze Lion at Cannes, the Cannes Festival, right? In Cannes, France. For Scoop There It Is. That's a headline.
Yeah.
But what a headline is to a press release is a Trojan horse for me. So everything I've been doing since the last press release, I get to mention, I get to optimize. And now when I drop it, this last one I did, probably 582 entities picked it up.
Huh.
It went to API, and all those links stick because I know SEO. I'm just throwing out a press release with just words. I optimized it. So now that's how some of those are going to fade, but a lot of those are going to stick. 100 backlinks from ABC, San Antonio, CBS, Rockport, Maine, right? Just because of the headline, tag team, Scoop There It Is, right? They got aggregators that pull this stuff down. If they like it, they run it.
Yeah.
And I love to do it. It's just so many different things you could do, but they all kind of intertwine with each other. And that's what creates mastery, and that's what creates customization.
So would you ever sign with another record deal?
Nah, that's over.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel the same about publishers.
But let me tell you this though. I would never sign, but I would make records. I'm in the process of record production now.
I'm good. I was going to ask you that.
Right? But I'm not going to make songs for the public. I'm going to make songs to license. I want to make a theme. If I'm going to be in a TV show and I'm a series regular, I'm going to make the theme. If I'm about to be in a movie, I'm going to make a song about that movie and submit it, right? And license it. And if it blows up in the movie, then everybody starts liking this song. They're going to be like, who's that song? They're like, that's DC the Brain Supreme Tag Team. Man, he's still making money. You see how that's a better response than if I say, hey, everybody, here's my new record. They were like, man, DC need to sit his old ass down. He was doing good. But he need to do that. He messed himself up doing that, right? Because there is a reality to all of this, right? And I can't be a 55-year-old rapper with a white beard talking about I'm the best rapper. Come listen to my music, right? It doesn't make sense. But there are music houses out there who redo songs, make songs. I can make fitness music. I can make whatever that I could put on a physical piece of something or put somewhere that is strategic to it. Because there's a million people looking for fitness music. I put myself on the first page of that. Bam. I'm streaming like crazy. If there's something on there that they like, it becomes a hit record. But within that, group of people, right? So say it's 100,000 people and I get 200,000 streams. I could do that in quiet because I don't have to be a star. I could care less about being a star. This is about success and mastery. That's what I'm working toward, mastery. I care less about money. I care less about stardom. I want mastery. Mastery is my drug, and education is my drug. I coined a phrase called learn how to learn. It is not enough to learn. You got to learn how to learn. And that's what you do when you cut those learning curves.
That's your keynote.
Huh?
That's your keynote.
They're telling me it's not though. And I'm like, I like that, right? And I'm like, but see, here's the thing. All of those, everybody asked me at the convention. I went to the convention about a month ago. They're like, so what do you talk about? I was like, what do you want to talk about? It's like, well, you got to have something to talk about. I was like, look, my thing is like a DJ. Okay. You remember back in the club, if you went to a club, if I'm a DJ and I go to a club, I got 3 crates of records, right? I don't know what I'm going to do till the crowd comes, right? I'm not going to DJ the same way I DJ'd last week, because last week I might have had 1,000 people in the club. This week I might only have 200. I'm going to DJ totally different, but it's the same 3 crates of records. The party is different. The presentation is different. All records are PowerPoint slides. So I have 3 crates of PowerPoint slides. I'll go in a couple of days earlier, talk to the executive staff, get the lay of the land. Then I put my slides together, and then I go rock the house or rock the club. And then when I'm done, right? And it's effective. So that's how I would do it. But they're used to saying, this is my theme. And when you do that, you kind of can't really get in there. And when there's a spontaneous moment, take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I like doing these, because I get to practice. I come up with so many new things just by talking. And when I come up with these new things, then I get to write them down, and then they become records. And then all I got to do is just have them in PowerPoint slides across and then bullet points, and don't even have to go through the whole bullet points as long as they see them.
Yeah.
But I can read the crowd and be like, okay, I'm going to talk about this. I'm going to talk about that. But as long as it's in the realm of those bullet points, it doesn't matter the order. You don't got to go in order. They're like, I don't like him because he didn't go in order. His bullet points.
They don't know.
They don't even know. But that
That's
me, that
key.
part of it is the most
Yeah.
brilliant to me, because I sat there and watched speaker after speaker after speaker get on that big stage. And I said, and then I went back and I looked at all their videos and all their marketing material. And I said, I understand what they're doing, but there is another way.
Well, I got an example for you too, because I had a few questions, but really the interview kind of took its own direction. So
that tends to happen with
I
me.
did get to squeeze in. I did get to squeeze in a few, but you also answered a lot of the questions I had. So
that's the beauty of That's the beauty of doing this. I remember I had a podcast with a young lady in Spain, and she was like, "Did you read the questions?" And I was like, "No, kind of don't do that." She was like, "Oh my God, we got to cancel because you didn't read the questions." Like, calm down, slow your roll.
God.
Take it, breathe through your nose. I said, ask me one question, and I'll do the rest. She asked me one question, and I started.
Yeah.
And I can read her. I can read the person across me on the screen and know where to go.
Yeah.
I can know if they're losing. If somebody looking at their watch and like over here, okay, you got to switch up. You got to go somewhere else. But that is so rare, because when I start talking about life, people are riveted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You were a writer. You were like, my writing had to get good because nobody can express my writing like me. Yeah. I've hired 1,000 writers, and they just can't, because nobody knows it like me.
Well, I feel that way about interviewing too, because I study other interviewers, and I actually write down questions from some of the really good interviewers and kind of adapt some of them. And it's getting good at asking questions. I mean, I'm not perfect by any stretch. Nobody is, but I try to be better at every interview.
Yeah, that's life though. I'm just trying to be a better man today than I was yesterday. That's it. And that's what I strive for. I mean, like with the writing, I have so many methods. I have a just beautiful method of writing now. I will get one of those cheap writers. It doesn't matter who writes for me now, because I just want to write 1,500 words. Write 1,500 words about these 4 pages. Then I can go, and this is what helps. I have a reader. I go to the AI and I dump it into the reader, and it's reading to me out loud in the robot voice or whatever voice it is. And I can hear it. Like it has to be a conversation for me to use it.
Yeah.
And then I just take it paragraph by paragraph. Then I dump it into what's called Quillbot. Quillbot gives me different variations of it. And then I throw it back in, and then, oh, that's better. All I got to do is change this word, this word, this word. And it reads to me it's like just your friend talking to you.
See, I do it the hard way. I read it aloud to myself.
And you can do that, but it's almost like it's hard for me because I get to daydreaming. So I have to have like long emails. I throw it in the AI, and the AI is just like reading it to me, but I pick up things.
Yeah.
And here's the beauty of it. I listen to everything at 2-3 times the speed. If I got a course to go through, I will listen to it 2-3 times the speed, because I don't need to hear everything. The things that I don't know or I to pitch, I could stop and be like, wait, go back there. I write down the time. And now I know that I can go back there for reference. It has to, it takes a lot of organization because, and I tell people, you know, everything you do record. If you're paying for services, if you're paying to get taught something, I recorded everything since 2008 because I started voiceover in 2008.
Yeah.
And I just had a bunch of recordings of everything I did. You know, you would like to say that you'll go back through them again, but when the pandemic hit,
oh yeah,
I was like, what am I going to do? Everybody asked that question. What the hell am I going to do now? And it was like, I can't go do shows. I can't do this, can't do that, but I can rock this microphone.
Yep.
Let me reinvent myself with voiceover. Let me organize all my lessons from various voiceover coaches and just go through them one by one. I went through the first one, 2008, and almost made me cry because I had to hear my self-talk 15 years ago. I had to hear that person actually have a conversation, and I realized how ignorant he was, and it just broke my heart. But at the same time, all the things that they were telling me, because I'm an actor now, I never quit, I never gave up, I play offense, so I'm a voice artist, working voice artist, and a working actor. I understood everything they were trying to teach me, because back then I didn't know the language. I thought I could just whoop there it is my way through everything, so I thought it was their fault that I couldn't get it, and I was wrong. And to have the ability to kill your pride and sequester your ego is the greatest gift that the Lord has given me, because it truly opens my mind to every possibility imaginable. And I redid my first script. I listened to their notes, and it was purely angelic, because it was the first time in my life I had mastery over my voice. And then I started booking like that, because back then it was like, we're all in this together. COVID. That's the voice, right? It's going to be okay. Look out for your neighbor, right? Everybody had those, and I was booking like crazy.
Nice.
And then I got a call to do a movie, my first movie, because I've only been acting since 2017. Then I got another call to do another movie. Then I got a call to do the Publix ad for the fall, and then here comes Geico. I was already doing it before Geico even came, and Geico didn't have nothing to do with my acting, or it had to do with tag team, right? And then became a publicist. And when I dropped that press release that week, I dropped it on a Wednesday. I get a call from Dan Patrick's show on Thursday. And I'm on national TV with Dan Patrick talking about Tom Brady on a Friday. Relations Society of America, and learned how to become my own publicist.
Wow. That is such a great way to end this, because you have imparted like a whole university education to, I think, the audience. So, on how to market yourself.
That's how you do it. And everybody's like, you should write a book. Why you just give it? Because you give what you want first.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I'll give it all away, because I know that's the easy part. The hard part is putting in the work.
Oh yeah.
You know, when you go to organizations, you can learn all day, but the hard part is now you got to put in the work. Now you have to be the example. That's my whole thing. I'm not trying to convince you to do anything. All I can do is be the example. You're looking at me, and you know what I've done. I'm the example, and I'm telling you how I did it. I'm the example. It's up to you to get to that point. And I love it when it's hard, because I know nobody else is going to do it.
Perfect.
It's the way you think about things. You know, it's just the way I reverse my brain. I don't know what I do, but I'm always, they call me DC, the brain supreme, for a reason. Not because I'm stupid, not because my head is big. Well, my head is kind of big, but not that big. Somebody call you the brain. We were Pinky in the Brain. I know you remember that.
Yes. Oh yeah.
But on the serious note, I really want to thank you for letting me come on here and just run
Oh,
my
thank
mouth.
you. Thank
Because
you.
I swear I learn more by running my mouth than anything. And when I run my mouth, people learn and I learn, and it's just beneficial for all parties involved. So thank you, thank you, thank you,
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm.